Hey, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Nerdicane coming out with another video. First off, hit a like, hit a subscribe. Thank you to everybody who's still watching. I know it's been a long time since I did a video, but I've had some craziness going on with purchasing a house. But today's the day. We purchased a new house, and then we sold our old house like within 3 days of it, like the same 3 days, everything was just going down. But that's not important. But it is important that I have a new man cave, and I have a nice shed in the backyard of the new place now, so I can do some crazy nerdy projects. But anyway, getting back to what we're doing, this is a little different. I'm going to review this new thing that came out on Netflix called Love, Death, and Robots. Now, what it is, it's an anthology of short stories put together, and they're all animated. Some of them use sort of a super realistic CGI. Other ones are sort of a mixed media. They're very innovative, and they're very creative, and they're very neat. I realized something when I was watching this. As you know, I read comics. I read a lot of comics. I read a lot of modern comics, and the modern comic book industry right now is poisoned. It's toxic. It's been poisoned by leftist ideologues. And that comes through in the art, in the stuff. I kind of hesitate to call it art. It comes through in what they create, and therefore you're reading things that are toxic to certain audience. There's a micro percentage who would love that stuff and they would just eat it up. But the funny thing is they're not the ones buying the comic books. They don't buy comic books. They'll download a PDF from somewhere, a torrent or something. But in watching this, there were, especially the first one, there were things, and really throughout it, there were things that sort of just like, and they will with you. This is no spoiler. I'm not giving any spoilers. There were things in it that are going to make your eyes roll, that are going to make you cringe, because if you're a big comic fan, there are tropes in comics that we're just sick of. But anyway, we're going to get to the first one. The first one's pretty cool. It's called Sunny's Edge. Now, it is about a woman, but it centers around these pit fights. It's sort of like MMA for monsters. I don't know much about the world that they created. I don't know if these creatures are created in a lab, or if they're created in nature, if they're just like natural creatures that they capture and they do this stuff with. But the person operating the creature, there's a telepathic link between the operator and the creature. Okay, so you deal with Sunny, and she's got a really cool monster. But here's where the tropes start. It's a minority woman, also with a shaved side of the head, also with a troubled past, also with, scars on her face. And like I said, I'm not going to spoil any of these. I want you guys to watch them. I give this whole series so far my seal of approval, but this is like me giving you the warning to get through this cringe that we associate with comic books. It's not that bad. This is stuff. This is a lot of these tropes that will poison a comic book. This is a lighter form, and it's a form that actually works in a lot of these stories. So Sunny has got this trauma in her past, and of course it goes right into the tropes of like, it's caused by men. It was caused by a rape, and all of her dark past is caused by men. And there's a man in the beginning scene who's like asking her to compromise her values, asking her to throw a fight so he can make money. And also there's a MacGuffin woman that you're introduced to, who's this almost like impossibly clean and beautiful blonde from in the environment, in this very cyberpunk, very grimy environment. But we'll get to her later. This story is all about twists and about things that you didn't expect to be, and it's about revenge. And so she was assaulted back in the day, and this is what caused her so much trauma and just damage to her face and her body. It's really crazy because throughout this whole fight between the two monsters, there's scenes and there's ways that it was set up and angles that it was shot from that are sort of like almost reenacting, almost playing through the sexual assault that she dealt with, and it's I guess it's kind of her coping mechanism to get into the ring and fight like that. But it's got really cool twists, man. Like there was a part, and then once again we get back to the tropes. Is the Lady MacGuffin shows up, and which wouldn't you guess that they're both lesbians, and there's a nude scene in it, which CGI nude scene, and it's weird. It's a little cringy to see a CGI nude scene, because I know animators and they have to animate that sort of like creepy fan service, but it gets heavier. It gets much more heavier handed in one called, oh God, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one where there's like a murder mystery thing. Oh, that one's terrible. But anyway, yeah, there's like twists and turns where the Lady MacGuffin turns out to be not what you think. The bad guy he's a man, so he's exactly what you think. He's a monster. That's another trope. Is every bad guy in this is a guy. Let's see, what else is there? And then there's the twist at the end was like you start to see it, and when you know it, when you watch it, and that's the cool thing about it. When you watch it, you'll go back and you'll watch the other thing. You'll watch other things. If you watch this again, you'll notice that it's kind of like, oh, there was a clue there and a clue there, and I didn't really pick up on it, or maybe you did, but you didn't know how all the clues fit together. But this one, Sunny's Edge, is really cool. That's a really cool start to the thing. The second one's called Three Robots. Three Robots was, once again, it's this like the trope, the heavy-handedness, the global warming is going to kill us all in 12 days, and it's all of that sort of thing that we see so much, and we hear so much about that just hyperbolous post-apocalyptic thing. But it's done right in this movie, in this short. You don't really know exactly what happened. There's this one even uses like the LOL so random. Oh, look, cats. Part of the joke is the cat, and we're so poisoned from Marvel Comics just going over the top with cats and food and all these dumb little tropes that they find LOL so random. And it's almost all in here. It's almost all in Three Robots, but for some reason it just doesn't come off as super cringy. So the premise is these three robots, they're on vacation in a ruined city of humanity. The apocalypse has happened. Doesn't really point to exactly what caused it, but the apocalypse happened, and they're just kind of touring it. And you see skeletons and you see how people died all around, but to them, it's like, imagine visiting Pamplona. No, not Pamplona. Oh man, I can't remember. Hang on. Let me go look at Pompeii, Italy. It's like imagining visiting Pompeii, where everybody there was wiped out, and it's sort of a snapshot in time. A lot of times they find people who are like encased in the ash exactly how they died. But that's what this is like, and they're touring it. And this one is actually funny. It's very, it's very difficult to be funny, properly funny in things like this, especially in comic books. It's not easy. But the whole thing is very funny, and just the three personalities as they go along of the three robots and they sort of represent like enthusiasm, cynicism, and rationality, and that's their kind of their personalities of the three robots. And it's really cool how they all work together and how they all interact, and they're all done really well. The interactions between them are really funny, and this is a very fun story. This is a really cool one. Probably of the first four, probably my favorite, but number 2 is kind of close behind it. But yeah, go check this one out. The next one, hang on. Once again, I got to do an edit. I got to find out the name of the next one. This next one's going to be short. Okay, the next one is called The Witness, and it is absolutely the least favorite of these first four. And this is going to be a really short segment, and I really did not like this one. It was just kind of like there wasn't enough information to go on, and I think the premise might have been interesting, but there was so much like cringy fetish stuff thrown into it, and that it was really just off-putting. Like, and I'm sure that whoever wrote this and whoever created this, there were things in it like fan service or like fan service to their weird fetishes or whatever they find sexy. A lot of rubber and that bondage, like rubber latex suit. Which, I mean, it's okay if you're into. But there's one point where there's a trans or maybe a drag queen pimp, and that character is just so off-putting, and I'm sure somebody applauds it like, oh, they put a trans person in there, or they put a drag queen in there. But is it really a good thing? Because if you watch this one, that trans or drag person, it doesn't really say, that person is put in there as a caricature, as like a jester, as just this, and the person is dressed as a clown as well. So maybe you got some virtue points for that, but should you have? It's kind of, I don't know, just kind of it's the most stereotypical representation of a trans person like that, and it was really just off-putting. But this is one, check it out once. You'll probably check it out once, and you'll be like, oh, it could have been a much more interesting story. But yeah, this was my least favorite of all of them. But yeah, I really don't remember a whole lot about the story, and I really just didn't care. But anyway, that's all I got on this one. Let's move on to the next. So this last one is called Suits, and it's really cool. The whole story is just like, it starts off mundane on the farm, farmers dealing with farm stuff, and then you realize that it's a much more technologically advanced world, and then this portal opens up out of who knows where the hell it's coming from, and a xenomorph type creature comes out, and they have to respond to it. It turns out every farm has like this battle mech, so they have to respond to these creatures coming out with their battle mechs, and that's really cool. The mechs are really cool, but then even that battle turns into something bigger. It turns out that it's a huge invasion type event, so they have to deal with that, and everything gets ratcheted up. And that's kind of what this story is. Everything gets ratcheted up. You realize, oh, this isn't just a farm. Oh, that's not just a little invasion. Oh, these mechs are really cool. And it does like that. But it's really well written. Like, every character in this has competency. These people are out on a frontier. They're farmers. They're very competent people. None of the women, even though they're housewives on a farm, they're very competent. They can handle themselves. And the men, you don't make the women stronger in the story by diminishing the men. Everybody is competent, has a very frontier feel to it. And you see later in the story, when the story ends and you look at it and you get the full perspective, you're like, oh, wow, they really are out on a frontier. And that's why everybody's like this. And I really enjoyed this one. This was my second favorite, a very close second as well. But let's see. Yeah, I'm not really gonna. This was a well-written story. There was sacrifice to it. There was things that they had to overcome. Yeah, check these out. Check these first 4 out. I should have another one of these. I got to watch 4 more. And I'll probably have another review of this, but go check this out. It's really good. I hope I didn't spoil anything for you, and I hope I did. I hope I made you want to go watch it. But don't worry, it has things that if you're a comic book fan would be super cringy, but it does it in the right type of amounts. But thanks for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. I am Nerdicane. You guys go out, have a good day.